Hello, folks. It's Mad Dog Merv. I thought for Christmas Eve, I would probably do something, well, a little bit Christmassy. And you see, today, well, the last day I have to work this year, which is awesome. So I am off until January 2nd or 3rd or, something like that. But anyway, I am going to enjoy my holiday doing, well, the kind of stuff that Mad Dog Merv likes to do on holidays. One thing I do like to do is kind of reminisce about, the wonderful things that have happened this last year, and also some of the things that have happened in my life that are just absolutely spectacular. And Christmas time, always, my thoughts go back to being a Santa and being a professional Santa. I know it's hard to believe that somebody like me would actually play Santa, but there was a period in time. Let's see here. We got the 4 stages of life. Okay, 1, you believe in Santa. 2, you believe Santa is fake. 3, you play Santa. And 4, you look like Santa. I'm currently in stage 4, so what does that say about my life? Anyway, I digress. Yes, about 15 or so years ago, I actually played Santa Claus professionally. And I had a great opportunity to serve in 2 different malls, and actually had a NBA player on my lap with his family. Not all at once, no, they came up separately. But anyway, I'll tell you that story here in a minute. And, well, it's not as easy as you think to be Santa. Everybody thinks, yeah, I'll just get into a suit and, ho, 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 and everything's great. No. Have I got stories for you? And so I'm going to share a couple of those with you today. It's a job that is very rewarding. It's very wonderful. Anytime you get to work with kids, it's an amazing job. I was an elementary head custodian for, 7 years, and I always said that was the greatest job ever. And I think it really was. Although being Santa, it's a close second. Other than there is some real heartrending things that happen when you're Santa Claus. So let's get into it. I've got a couple of pictures. We'll kind of make this short because it's Christmas Eve, and I don't want to take up all your time. You should be doing Christmas Eve type stuff, not watching me all night. But anyway, you can if you want. Let's examine what it's like to be a professional Santa.
So, if you were with us last week, you saw the segment we did on the Christmas train that I put around the Christmas tree. First time I had done that in 20 years. All of my younger kids never grew up having a train around the tree because it was something that, their mother didn't want it. So, being a modeler, I've kind of gotten into trains a little bit, modeling trains. I thought this would be kind of a fun thing to do. So, the spirit of Christmas, of course, it's something that I just cherish. I really enjoy the Christmas season. But being a modeler, well, of course, I like to model Christmas things during Christmas. So this year was the Christmas train. There is one project that I'm working on. We'll actually do a piece on this one of these years, and that is this Rommel's rod. I got the idea to turn this into Santa's rod. So I've already painted it red. I've been working on the stuffing. Anyway, someday we'll take a look at that. But I digress. The fun thing about acting like you're Santa is you give your friends models. So a few years ago, I built this funny car because, Mark's last name is Miller, and I figured Miller Beer funny car, hey, that'd be a great Christmas present. So I built this for Mark a few years ago and gave it to him. And then my good friend and supervisor, Robin, you can see what I gave him. There's this French knight figure that I painted up to look like Robin, the red and green, the classical Robin from Batman and Robin. Yeah, you got it. So, of course, being a modeler, being a little strange, this is what I gave him a couple of years ago. And then my friend Dave Knopfsinger, a few years ago, I gave him a model of the Nova that he had in high school, and he still has it in a little display case to this day, which is kind of a fun thing. So, being a modeler and being a guy who likes to play Santa, so about 20 years ago, I decided I wanted to make a little extra money. And I took a pair of my pajamas and I made a pattern out of them, got some material, and actually built this Santa suit. So this is something that I built. I went to a shop and I got a nice beard and wig and the bells and a few other things, and I put together this and I went to town. And immediately I was able to get a job at what used to be called the Crossroads Mall in Salt Lake City. And that's where I learned to be a, quote, professional Santa and work X number of hours, have all the little kids come up and sit on your lap. It was funny that people I would run into there. This particular page is from my Santa scrapbook. And here I have a list that was given me by one of the little kids that shows all the things that he wanted for Christmas, which I thought was pretty cool. And my friend Dave Knopfsinger came and sat on my lap one day, and that was a lot of fun. And then I transferred to another mall, and that was Fashion Place Mall. While I was there, Jeff Hornacek from the Utah Jazz came by one day with his family, stood in line, forgot something, left, came back a few minutes later, and got in the back of the line. I thought, what a cool guy. You know, I mean, let all these other people go, and our manager grabbed him and says, no, Jeff, you go to the front of the line. But here's another one of those cool drawings that one of the little kids had done. And, well, my friend Carl Timmerman, my very good friend, my late friend Carl, brought his little boy by one day. Didn't even know it was me, so I had a lot of fun playing with Carl, and I absolutely cherish this picture because Carl has now passed away. One of the fun things that I really enjoyed when I was Santa is I had this beautiful 1995 red convertible Mustang, and it was a lot of fun to go out and do my gigs because I did a lot of private gigs, private parties. $100 a piece. It was great money. And I would go out in this convertible with the top down in the middle of winter, and that was so much fun, especially when you're getting gas and people are honking at you. Well, needless to say, I had some kind of unsavory things happen over the years. And don't get me wrong, it's a great job. But there were a couple of things that, were a little bit difficult. I remember the one time that I saw this young man, and I thought he was kind of a jerk, gangbanger-looking kid. And he came back and sat on my lap, and I said, okay, what do you want, buddy? And he says, Santa, I only want one thing. And he looked at me with tears in his eyes, and he said, Santa, I want my brother back. And apparently his brother had been killed just recently, and we shared a good moment. That's one of the experiences. I was taking care of a family one day, doing Christmas with this large family group, and the matriarch of the family had to be in her 80s, and she turned to me and she says, Santa, my husband's dying, and all I want is peace, love, and happiness in this family. He won't be with us much longer. And I had to think fast, so I turned to her, and I gave her a peace sign, and then I gave her a hug, and I said, there's your peace, there's your love, and I says, and happiness, well, you've got this whole family here, and that's all the happiness that you could ever want in this world. And there wasn't a dry eye in the house, including Santa's. So, yeah, there were some touching times that I had. I have a whole book of stories like that we'll share some other time, but needless to say, it was just so heart-rending, and it was so hard for Santa to go out and have tears in his eyes all the time. I figured it was just time to hang it up. Well, due to some personal turmoil that I was going through for about 10 years, I quit playing Santa. I just couldn't get in the suit. You're supposed to be jolly and happy, and I just couldn't do it. About 3-4 years ago, though, some things turned around in my life. I had a new outlook, and I finally decided to get back in that suit. My friend Dave invited me to his family party to play Santa, and here I am, dressed up for the first time in several years, back in the suit. Thought I'd never do it again. I sure enjoyed that. I forgot how much I missed it. By the way, Dave gave me this really cool thing for Christmas that year. What this is, it's a little box. It's got a little hammer, and behind the glass it says break glass in case of stress. And there's, a couple little bottles of Jack and Coke and a model. So I thought that was pretty appropriate for me particularly. Nothing like an emergency model to help you out under times of stress, but what was so appropriate is it's a 69 Cougar, and Dave knows how much I absolutely love Cougars. So the next year I thought we would try it again, and here I am at Dave's house, getting ready to go to his family party. Of course, he had the beautiful red Chevy truck. How appropriate for Santa to be riding around in a big red Chevy truck. Anyway, we went and did the party and had just a fantastic time again that year. And I thought, maybe I can get back into this and maybe one of these days at least start doing some parties and making a few dollars. During this time, of course, Isabella would come with me, and she would be my little elf. And here she is hiding behind some presents at the rec center that we were at. Just as cute as could be. We did have a lot of fun in that period of time where she kind of knew about the truth about Santa, that her dad was Santa, and so she would come with me and do some of these fun things. And there's one thing I should go back and clarify, and that is that during the time I hung up the suit professionally, there was still a family that I would go visit on Christmas Eve. A friend of mine from work at Clayton many years ago, I would go see her grandkids, and she would have me give them some pajamas for Christmas Eve. A few years into that, she had her other daughter there, and I started to bring presents to that granddaughter. Well, when I got back into Santa and ho-hoing and all happy and merry and jolly, I really got into enjoying being with this family, and I got to watch this little girl Ashley grow. A couple of years ago, she was kind of somber, and she says, "Santa, the only thing I want for Christmas this year is for my mommy to live long enough to watch me be baptized." And come to find out, her mother had terminal cancer, and they didn't expect her to live more than a few months. When I got out of that house, I cried my eyes out for a half hour, and I swore I wasn't getting back in. So now all I do is I go to family gatherings, my family gatherings. I wear the hat, or I might wear the jacket, but I will no longer get in the suit. I leave that for my kids or for friends that want to use it. But well, needless to say, I'm just done.
Well, folks, there you have it. What it's like to be Santa Claus for real. Not just, the guy who sneaks upstairs and throws a few gifts under the tree for the kids, but an actual, real, bona fide Santa. It was quite a ride. Still don't know if I'll ever get in that suit again. It's quite a difficult thing. But thanks for joining us, and you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And join us next week for our next wonderful show.